Hey there, legendary souls. Welcome back to Unconventional Counseling. Today we're going to do a tarot reading just to tap into what the energy is that the Virgo New Moon brought in for us, is bringing in for us this week. So we'll start with a prayer, and then we will read, an oracle card, we'll read a story, and see how the tarot cards further explore it. Divine Alchemist, angels and archangels, well ancestors, for my highest good, for the viewer's highest good, we invite you in at this time, and we thank you so much for your continued presence in each of our lives, for your willingness to support us. Please allow for this reading to reach whomever is meant to view it, for it to touch and transform them in the ways that it needs to, in the ways that they've been asking for clarity, for guidance, for reassurance. And please allow for the viewer's discernment to be active, that they are able to hear and really feel what resonates within this message for them and for their journey and for their story, and that they're able to leave whatever doesn't resonate and be able to see and understand that with so much clarity and so much conviction. Thank you so much for this time that we have to come together, and whenever it's meant for anyone to find this, may that time come in divine order and divine timing. Thank you all for all that you have done, all that you're currently doing, and all that you're going to do in service of these intentions and requests and prayers. Ashe. All right, so we're reading from the Aboriginal Dreamtime Oracle deck, and we have Patience. That feels so appropriate for Virgo energy. I feel like Virgo energy oftentimes has to be some of the most patient. Just because things don't always move quickly with the Virgos, for the Virgos. They'll tend to work very steadily, very diligently before they tend to see their manifestations come in. All right, the book says, when the wind was created, he loved his ability to fly around the bush, listening to all the animals' voices in the bush. After some time of hearing all the voices, he began to feel upset with the nasty things that the animals would say about each other. He moved around from the bush to the desert, to the ocean, but wherever he went, it was the same. More animals saying cruel things to each other. After returning to the desert, he realized that nothing would ever change. This made him very mad, and in his anger, he started to turn around in circles, eventually beginning to spin so wildly, with the dust being thrown into the air and the dirt and the rocks from the ground scattering in every direction. After a while, he got tired, and he just stopped spinning. And in his exhaustion, he realized that he was no longer angry, and that he felt good after this. Over time, the wind became able to accept that when he got upset, he would just simply spin himself around and around until all his anger and all his energy had been spent, and then he would just stop and move on until the next time he got upset. The message. Life feels out of control right now, and it's hard to see the light through the dust. You are continuously turning yourself inside out, trying to find ways to deal with the situation. You're so focused on the situation that you don't even realize that sometimes it's not in your control. Hand the situation back over to the person who is truly in control of it, and simply just step back. That feels real appropriate for Virgo energy. So if you have a Virgo placement, you might know this very personally. If you have Virgos in your life or have people with Virgo energy in your life, you might know this in your interpersonal connections. But one of the things about Virgo energy is that they have this tendency towards rumination and self-criticism and anxiety. And so when situations occur that aren't always in their control, they try to logic their way through, they try to think it out, they try to figure out how they can make the situation better. It comes from a good place, it comes from a good heart. However, the thing that this Virgo New Moon is teaching you, is teaching us, is inviting us into, is that not everything is in our control. And it can be really frustrating to hear that, but it can also be quite liberating to hear that, because if not everything's in your control, it also means that you're not responsible for everything. You're not responsible for everyone. And so one of the things that means is if something isn't going in the way that you anticipate, if something, it's like you keep trying and it keeps falling apart, that means it's not your fault. There are other factors at play. It might not even be your situation to remedy. It might be for someone else to figure out. It might be for the divine to shift things in the right timing, a timing that you can't see, that we can't see just yet. So this Virgo New Moon is inviting you and us to discern what is ours to handle and what isn't. Let's see what the tarot cards have to say to add to this message or to clarify this message further. We have the Magician. Beautiful energy. Important, strong, powerful energy. We have the Seven of Wands. We have the Two of Cups. So I'm seeing this as this has to do with a relationship. Yeah? We have the Queen of Swords. It has to do with the relationship, and it has to do with maybe the words that are being shared. So when we see the Queen of Swords, sometimes the words that are being shared in a relationship, feel pretty harsh. They're very direct, they're to the point, they're forthright, they're analytical. And this might either, let me see. Yeah. So I was going to say that it might be mirroring how you're speaking to yourself. But sometimes in relationships, there is a mirroring that happens. Oftentimes there is. And the way that people treat us, or the way that people show up for us or don't show up for us, the ways that people understand us or don't understand us, sometimes what it's doing is showing us that this is a way that we've been treating ourselves. So if you're in connection with someone and you've been in conflict and you've been trying to work things out, and maybe you come with such a tenderness and you come with your heart, you come with your cup full of love, and you're kind of like doubling down on being tender, you're doubling down on being kind, you're doubling down on just really trying to not repeat old patterns in old relationships or old patterns in your life. You're really trying to prove to yourself that you're in a more healed space than you once were by showing up differently and more kindly. And the person that you're interacting with, and it might be more than one person, but the folks that you're interacting with, they might not care about any of that. They might not be on that particular journey that you're on. They might not be able to even reflect to you or acknowledge how much you've grown. They might not be able to receive the tenderness that you're giving them. And they might not be able to give you tenderness back. And you're getting this like very rah type of energy. Maybe you reach out and you try to be tender via text, via short message, and the energy you'll get back is criticizing of you. Well, the way you said this, I didn't appreciate. Or the time that you messaged me isn't okay. So all of a sudden, you're hearing people's boundaries and you want to respect them, but you're receiving the boundaries in a way that feel like walls. And it feels like you've really fucked up. It feels like you failed. Maybe every time you interact with this person or these people. Notice which connections you feel like a failure in. Notice which connections you feel stifled in. Notice which connections you feel extra tired in. Notice which connections you feel like you're afraid that you're going to do a misstep and someone is going to leave you in. Because there's something in this dynamic, and it might be very difficult for you to see it all the way, but there's something in this dynamic that is attempting to show you, your wound. That's all. That's all it's here to do. It's just here to show you where it hurts for you. And the place where it hurts is the place where you are afraid that you're going to be abandoned. So you leave yourself in the process and you try to accommodate other people. Or it shows you that you're afraid and maybe you even believe on some level that you are a failure. And so when you don't do things just perfectly, just so, you beat yourself up. You punish yourself. You guilt yourself. You shame yourself before somebody else even can. Because if you were to receive it from someone else, it would feel too humiliating. It would feel too much. It would feel too overwhelming. It would break your heart in a billion pieces. And so you hurt yourself internally in the way that someone else couldn't. You do it before someone else can. That might be a wound that is being shown to you. We're still in the post-shadow period of Mercury retrograde, and part of that Mercury retrograde was in the sign of Virgo. And so this Virgo season, with this Virgo New Moon, you're kind of getting a recall of any energy that was coming up for you before, but you're getting a recall while Mercury is direct. So there's just a little bit more clarity. There's a little bit more possibility to see things just a little teeny tiny bit more clear in terms of where you are really, really hard on yourself. It might feel like this is about a relationship. It might feel like this is about a connection. It might feel like, well, if the person would just be kinder to me, if the person would just accept my apologies, if the person would just show up to this conflict that we're having, just full out, maybe we would be able to get closure. And beloved, I want to let you know, another person does not grant you closure. They can't. We think that they can, but they don't hold your closure. You hold your closure. And as soon as you say that you accept that it's over, this Ten of Swords here, as soon as you say, you know what? Yeah, I made some mistakes, and I take accountability for my mistakes. I made these mistakes because I didn't know what I know now. And these are the things that I learned through the process. And this is what I no longer choose to repeat to the best of my ability. That if I am aware, I'm not going to do X to myself any longer. I'm not going to beat myself up when I make a mistake any longer. I'm going to try really hard to disrupt these patterns of abandoning myself, of betraying myself. I'm going to really try to set my boundaries and then maintain them. I'm going to notice when I feel like something's off, and I'm just going to go with it instead of doubting myself and questioning. Should I feel that way? Maybe I shouldn't feel that way. If the person's fine, it doesn't matter about the person. I will tell you again and again and again. This story is about you. You are the main character. So this Virgo New Moon is inviting you to take a step back. To take a step back into your life. To take a step back to be with yourself. And to tap into your magician energy. And your magician energy is the energy that lives inside of you. It's the energy that lives inside of you. It can be, we could call it your inner child. It is this wonderfully optimistic, divinely connected source of light and energy within you that says, I have everything I need within me. The universe is inside of me. I am a legendary soul. I'm here to create the life that I wish to have. Whatever sort of affirmative type of language really resonates with you, this part of you speaks that over you constantly. Just like it's praying it over your soul constantly. Sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you feel the impact and effects of it. Sometimes there are other parts of you that are feeling louder. But it doesn't mean that this part of you stops being there. When we are tapped into our magician energy, it is so easy to daydream with the Seven of Cups here. It is so easy to start to rest and to pontificate about, well, maybe I want to do that. And maybe I want to go there. And what would it be like if I lived my life in this way? Or do I need more money to do something like that? Or what's something that I can do to be more creative? And what would feel fun? What would feel like joy for me? So when you take a step back from this dynamic with this person, this dynamic that isn't giving life to you right now, when you honor yourself and choose to trust yourself even though you're not 100% sure that you can, when you choose rest, when you choose to give it over to the divine because you're not quite sure what to do, you've tried everything, when you allow for yourself to say, you know what, I did the best I could. I've been doing the best that I can. I know that maybe there's a part of me that wishes I could do more, but I'm tired now. I don't have it in me to give anymore. I don't have anything else to give. And every time I give in these different ways, I keep getting the same response from this person or from these people. And I'm so frustrated. I don't want to do this anymore. I wish it was easier, and it doesn't feel like it's going to get easier with them. So let me take a step back. Let me take a step back and fall into my own embrace, where the ease exists, where the ease lives. I might have to hold myself. I might have to cry. I might have to meditate. I might have to watch a movie. I might have to laugh. I might have to dance. I might have to do something that reminds me of who I am outside of this dynamic, this frustration, this fatigue. You're being called to have patience with yourself. You've been working really, really hard, and sometimes you just need a nudge and a reminder of how hard you have been working to allow for yourself that you are deserving of sitting down and of resting. So we're going to pause this reading here. I hope that it offered you everything you were looking for. And if there's anything else that you're looking for, I hope that you find it soon. And I'll catch y'all in the future. Take really good care of yourselves. Bye.